Hello, it's Crypto CJ. It's a trade of the day, Friday afternoon Zoom edition. Bitcoin going sideways still, about 2 weeks with just a tiny range of $1,000. We're up 1% today. Let's go to the chart. Okay, should be seeing my Bitcoin day chart.
Yes.
Thank you. And this is what I'm talking about, this range here. I probably should have drawn it out, but Friday the 12th, we were at 26.6. So we're essentially trapped in a range between about 26.4 and 27.4. This right here. So again, it's been hard even to pick up 1 or 2% on day trades on some of the blue chips. Some of the lower volume coins, they're kind of crazy. So, but I like trading those anyway. Regardless, Bitcoin, we're up. We were up 2% earlier. Now it's just 1%.
Look at the volume. It's been down since about the 16th of March.
Yeah, good point. We got this clump of volume here. We had a push, and it's halfway decent down here until late April. And it's been just kind of putzing around most of May. Maybe that sell in May and go away axiom is true. I don't know. And people are doing it for Bitcoin. Volume's been kind of low on the typical markets as well, stock market and those kind of things.
You're a big boy. You're a big boy, Boogie.
Frank, you got something to say, or what's going on over there?
Dealing with a dog.
Okay. Well,
Oh,
you could say if you folks mute yourself and then unmute to talk. So let's try to do that as much as possible. Very well. Okay, so that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, about the same. Really tight range here. We did break up above. You read about 1850 a couple days ago, but came right back. We did break over 1800 again. So we'll see if we can break through that 1850 barrier, push through 19 and 2000. But market's pretty slow. We have the American Memorial Day coming up on Monday, so it's a 3-day weekend for those of us in the States, which should push the weekend volume down even more. So this might be a weekend to do some short swing trading or just plan to hold a little bit longer than usual. I did initiate some shorts earlier today, but none of them are doing very well because Bitcoin actually went up. So we'll see if those resolve over the weekend. I probably won't initiate any more trades tonight. I'll leave some of my alerts on. We'll see if anything kicks in that I like. But for now, any comments or questions, speculations about the markets overall before we go to Altcoin Alert, see if we can find some potential setups. Okay, let's see what we can find. All right, I'm on the Altcoin Alert. Altcoin radar setup. Going to refresh, do my first sort by the AA score. Ideally, I'm looking for values 80 or more, but I will fudge a little for the high 70s. Got Quant in here at 78 for a bullish score. I do like this. It's not something, as far as I know, I can trade on a leverage market, but I've had some success with it on short to medium swing trades. I'd like to build a position in it for that purpose, but we'll look at it as a day trade for now, and maybe expand our approach. So I've got the 5-minute chart. Made a nice move today. So from about midnight, 2 in the morning, almost 4%, pretty good move. And as far as the day trade entry now in the dip sequence, I don't really like getting in at the top of the Bollinger Band. I was on a Zoom with some friends yesterday, and one of them was reminding me about catching the trend and getting some bigger moves other than dip trades. And obviously I tried to do that with my SuperTrend approach. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it reminded me of the teaching on Mondays. We talk about iCoin Pro, which is another information source and training system. And it has their squeeze trades, which are roughly a situation like this, where a bubble goes into a squeeze and it bounces off the SMA line in the 5-minute chart and then starts to take off. So essentially you buy in this vicinity, maybe right about here. You get a nice move here, almost 1% pretty quickly. And if you hold on for a longer period of time, you can catch this kind of move, maybe a 2% or a 3%. So these are the kind of moves I like to do when it's a bull market and that's been established, but we don't really have that now. We have kind of consolidation. And I don't know if there's enough volume or momentum to push these kind of trades this high with frequency. And most of our, day trends, this one's been trending down since late January. So, a squeeze trade on something like that isn't exactly, in my comfort zone.
Can I just question you on that?
Okay.
So you're in a squeeze, which is where the Bollinger Bands go tight together.
Yeah, after a bubble.
Which is after a bubble, right? And then when it bounces off the center line, it tends to go up.
In a bull market, yes.
What about the reverse? So it's in a squeeze, it's below the center line and it bounces down. It hits the line and bounces down. Is that also valid?
Like this, and then just keeps going down.
Yeah.
So on the short side, I haven't tried trading like that before. It's an intriguing thought.
Well, it should be the same, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I know iCoin Pro are teaching spot trading, so going down isn't an option, so they wouldn't talk about that.
Right, but
for us, doing leverage trading,
right, and I talk about the 1, 2, 3 dip. I also talk about the 1, 2, 3 pump. Not as much, but that's a similar concept to where I'm flipping iCoin Pro's teaching to go short because we can go both directions on leverage. So your swing trade proposal, you're flipping the usual squeeze trade. I like it. So test that for a couple months and get back to me. No, I mean, jokes aside, it makes sense. Let's see if we had something like that happen. Yeah, you've got it here. You have a bubble, then a squeeze, then it drops below the SMA line. It keeps going.
Yeah, and then it comes back, bounces off it, and
back,
goes down.
and then you get this move. Yeah, I mean, this is the wrong coin to really look at it, but conceptually, I like it. So might make a note of that. Short squeeze trade. Okay, any other questions on, well, actually, we didn't really finish that one. We're still on the 5-minute chart. Okay, so we don't really have a good entry at the moment. If you want to catch a dip sequence, I see support here, right around 99.50, 99.60. And again here, 97.25. So these are potential places for price alerts. Right click here, maybe 97.30 AA score. And when it hits there, reevaluate, see if you still want to get in, if it's setting up the way you like.
So on that alert you set there, does that go off multiple times, or does it only go off once?
Just once.
And then the alert disengages.
Yeah, I think you can only do it once. Well, it says every time here, so you can click that.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't done that before.
Well, that could get annoying, couldn't it? Because if you forget to, if you miss that one, then it's going to go off, but the circumstances are different.
Yeah. Yeah, that can get annoying. I was doing some trades on 2-minute and 4-minute charts this week, and I was alerted out by noon. Okay, let's go to 15-minute chart. And let's look at our indicators. Since quant is a spot trade only, I'm going to look for bullish divergence. Divergence is a disagreement between the candle action and the indicators. Does have some predictive value to it. I've got the divergence from any indicators version 4. I've got a backup, a non-repaint version. This version 4 is alert friendly, but it does repaint, so keep that in mind. And if we look at our last few divergences, we could pick up about 1% here. We stayed in the trade. I probably would have ladder bought around 2% and then rode this up. Gotten out about here after about 1 day. So my first position breaks even and my second position makes a couple percent. So overall, pretty good trade. Not perfect, but these bullish divergences would have been a little bit better. 0.77 or 77% there. They're shorter, so you pick up 1% or so fairly quickly. Okay, so that's divergence. Let me show you how to do a divergence alert real quick. Right click, divergence. We're going to choose positive. Once per bar close. That'll trigger every time this happens until you turn it off. AA score is what I would call this one, and you're good to go.
So
Okay.
if you wanted that to not go forever, you could change it from open-ended to just 1 day or something like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that,
yeah.
So
You
that
could.
then you would it would just time out.
Right. So
Because that's one of the things I've had a lot of problem with is alerts go off and they'll you know, they were something I said a week ago, and they're not relevant anymore. And
yeah,
so having them timing out so that they only go off in the time frame that you're looking at, I think is quite important.
right. And I generally turn my alerts off around 9 o'clock at night if I'm not, doing anything social. So I could just set that each alert to do what Craig suggested, go turn off the open end and set it for, you have to know military time. So 2100, and that's today's date. So I could click that and I would be good to go. I've got a to-do item on my Google Calendar that pops up every night before I go to bed. So I just turn them all off at once if I haven't done so earlier. So, but yeah, you can do that with each alert if you want. Thanks, Craig. And all right, so that's divergence. And SuperTrend, if you want to catch the trend, this one can be useful. I've made some changes to my charts since we got together last. On SuperTrend, I moved the ATR period back to 10. I think that's the default. I had it at 5. I found I was getting too many false signals, so I moved it to 10. And I've added this momentum indicator, squeeze momentum. And this is first you type in momentum here. And I just like how it looks. There's a few momentum indicators you can use. It is this one by Lazy Bear, the one I'm using. And I didn't make any changes to the values. I did change the style a little bit. I just have one plot and I made them stand out more. You can see I got them on the last value and color all the way 100%. I think the standard default was halfway through and maybe on one of these thicknesses, and I mean, this shows a lot better.
So what are we looking at or looking for here?
So what we want with with our super trend is to ideally have confirmation from both the RSI and the momentum.
So in the momentum, so can you just explain the momentum chart that we're looking at? What does it actually tell us?
Well, it's kind of hard to explain momentum. I always think of it like sports. You know, when your team all of a sudden starts doing really well, scoring a bunch of points, they have momentum in the game. That's how I think of it. There's probably a more technical explanation than that. So
So are the peaks like forward momentum and the reds or the bottom bits negative momentum?
right.
And
So
then the higher it is, the more momentum you've got.
right, and the brighter color, it's stronger momentum, and then the darker color is fading. I would think it'd be the opposite, but on this,
Okay, so
it's trending down, it's
that's
fading a little.
showing. So that's showing it's still got momentum, but the momentum's eased off.
Correct.
It parallels the RSI. If you look at it, it's just another visual on what the RSI is doing.
It's very similar, but I put this on a few days ago, and it has disagreed with the RSI a couple times, and it did keep me out of one trade that would have gone against me.
Okay.
I'm testing this. I'm looking for something other than the RSI for confirmation on the super trend, and I'm open to suggestions. I've tried probably 10 or 12 different ones over the year and a half I've been using super trend, and I haven't quite found the right one yet. And it might be just a matter of market conditions. Some work better than others. So
Obviously, you like the RSI with the super trend.
yes, I like the RSI for the next strategy I'm going to show you. And actually, but
Yeah.
I used to have my separate charts. You might remember I had separate layouts, and I decided to combine them. It's a little easier to show and work with that way, especially on my phone I'm trading. So let's look at most of the super trends on the buy side have done okay. I look at the last few on the chart just to get a quick history. We didn't get, I'm usually looking for 1% if I'm on leverage. I'm not on leverage for quant. I'm probably looking for 2 or 3%. And in this situation, I probably ladder buy once or twice and then get out right about here with, my first position breaking even and my other one or two having a pretty decent profit. But so this super trend buy didn't do well, but this one did. From early this morning, at least my time, got a 2.2% move. So
CJ, you say you do a ladder buy, and then you say one gets out not so good, but the other one does better. But the two trades combine, don't they?
correct.
So talking about them being separate and one doing one thing and one doing, it's sort of more the Forex thinking, or
Could be. I just didn't. I just feel it's a little more. I don't want to be disingenuous and say both positions were profitable. One was not, and one was, but combined, yes, they are profitable.
Yeah.
Just like you said, that's why we like the strategy so much. So, because if it goes against you, it can come back and get you that profit. So. Okay, so super trend, not bad. If you want to set an alert, right click on it, super trend buy, you can get direction change or sell. Since we're on spot, we're just concerned with buy once per bar close, or the timed alert that Craig pointed out, AA score, and we're good. Okay, and then the last approach I like, mentioned it briefly, is the RSI approach. Dips and pumps. We're just looking for dips on quant as a spot trade. Go to my vertical line to show the crosses. We have a cross here of the 30, which is considered the oversold area. When this happens, generally, depending on market conditions, the coin will come back up. And here we got a cross up about here. Might have one of these two areas, but there's a drop. And then a movement up, you know, almost 2%. We like that. And another one here. Just missed the 30 value here. Did get it here. And had you gotten in this one, I'd probably still be in that trade. Unless I ladder bought down here, but it doesn't go down. Yeah, it does go down 2%. So that would have triggered probably my ladder buy approach. And I would have been out here, just like what we did with a combined win. And similar setups, we'll set up for this one as well. So the RSI looks pretty good on quant. So for this one, we're going to right click for an alert. Crossing up the 30. Once per bar close. And that's our AA score. Okay. Of the three approaches we've looked at, I think this RSI might be the best for this particular coin at this particular time. Any questions on quant?
As far as the strategy goes, or the RSI, I mean, a lot of times, you know, the number of times it bounces actually going down, but the strategy is that once it crosses over that 30 point, that it's supposed to then, go bouncing back up. But a lot of times it just keeps going down.
It can just keep going down and or go sideways or just trends down slowly. So yeah, nothing's perfect. And what I like about the RSI strategy that I just showed you is it frequently imitates or puts you into a 1, 2, 3 dip on the 5-minute chart. So
What do you look at as far as trying to ascertain whether it's going to keep going down or whether it's going to start bouncing back up?
it's a contrarian strategy, so you can't really find much in the way of confirmation. Sometimes I will see that that something might start to hooking up. If I had another like a MACD on here, that's probably not a good example. And this one, on this cross, that's not a good example. I don't really have a confirmation option on here for the RSI strategy or the divergence because they're both trying to catch those dips and pumps and retraces. So you're not going to get a trend-based confirmation on either of those. So I don't have a good answer for you, Nate. Sorry. Okay, any other questions on quant before we look at something else? All right, let's look at something we can trade both directions. And we looked at the AA score. I was doing social activity and trading activity for a while, but I've kind of gotten back to the long-term sentiment with the elder impulse. So let's look at those. Sentiment is the Twitter data, what people are talking about online. Elder impulse is a technical indicator. When these match up, something I want to look at further. Let's look at something bad, something stinky, something bearish. At YFI, Cody, ETC, these are all shortable. Let's look at YFI. I had a trade on this yesterday that went pretty well. Is that on my list? Nope. Where did it go? Five-minute chart. On the long side, it's trending up. But I don't have a bubble yet as far as a dip sequence. And really squeezy at the moment. This isn't one that, moves a whole lot anyway. Not sure if this will be a good example, but let's take a quick look through. If you want to go long on this one, actually we're looking at this as more of a short. So we would set a price alert probably up here where there's some resistance. And if something's short, we want to buy at resistance and have it bounce and go back down. So I see that at 64.65. You right click and set your price alert there if you want to catch something short, reevaluate when it hits your value. On our 15-minute indicator approach on divergence, got some bearish divergence going off last night and today. They didn't do that well. Yeah, it just keeps going up. But that's normal. Divergence is like I said, contrarian. Yeah, there's just not much movement in this. So I'm not liking divergence for this at all. Super trend. Also not good for the short side. It's almost 1%. Then you hit a buy and it starts trending back up again. On the RSI, we've got a pump over the 70 value, then a little bit of a drop, but mostly goes sideways on the candle action. So these aren't doing that well either. And this will happen. Happened to me this morning. I looked at all three options and none of them look good. Yeah, none of these look good on for a short. For a long, not bad. So even if Altcoin Alert or some information source tells me, something's going to go down or something's going to go up, if the charts look like this, especially if they have movement both directions, I'll trade both directions. I'm not all that concerned with what the information source says. I'm more interested in what the charts say. So I don't really see a good short option here at all for YFI. But there were a couple, the super trend's halfway decent on a long. Okay, I'm gonna turn off my Telegram, which I forgot to do. Sorry about that, guys. And so let's look at one more on Altcoin Alert. We're right about a half an hour, so moving along pretty well. Let's look at Cody. This one has, I think, more movement than YFI. Probably should have remembered that YFI is a little pokey sometimes. Okay, in the 5 minutes, volume doesn't look good. Horizontal lines, don't like that. Let's look at something else. Audius. All right, a little better. Well, not great volume either. This doesn't surprise me though. Like I said earlier, we're gonna have a.
You're not sharing your screen.
Oh, okay, my bad. I had to unshare to take care of the Telegram thing. All right, seeing my audio 5 minute. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Got some pretty well defined support here, right around 0.238. And again, here about 0.235 could be a good place for a price alert on the long side. On the short side, we're pretty close to resistance. So I'm not sure if this is the place I would be. Might go a longer time frame. Still about the same. So resistance right about here, 24 cents. We're just below that. Let's check the hour chart. There's some support here at around 24.5 cents. All right. So let's just go to the 15-minute and see if we can find something with our indicators, maybe both directions. Looks pretty good. The shorts have done well. This one almost 3%. This one eventually almost 2%. Same as the one after. This one. Yeah, you're probably in this one for a while. Yeah, you're still in that one. And these are just better these are probably still ongoing as well, but they are moving in the right direction. And then the longs did well too. So yeah, if you want to trade both directions this weekend, I think this is a good candidate. Right click, negative divergence, once per bar close. This is long-term sentiment. That's on the negative side. On the positive, you just click. That's your first alert, and your next one is positive, once per bar close. And that's how you do that. So that's divergence. Looks good. Probably the best one we've seen so far. Super trend. That buy did okay. The sell, no. I'd say 50-50. I think divergence looks better than these in the recent past. So not liking it as much. On the RSI, we've only got one breakthrough in this time frame. And even that suspect. Not sure if that crossed or not. Yeah, looks like it did on the 30. And so that's a nice move up. This one almost crossed, but not quite. Good move up. This one as well. And then that one dropped. That one dropped a little bit. Barely. So if you want to trade both directions on the RSI, I like going with, well, it's easier to show it than talk about it. The entering channel approach. 70 on the upside, 30 on the bottom, once per bar close. And that's my long-term sentiment. I will go with the notes reverb. Click create. Then I'll get the channel here, like a rectangle. So whenever something breaks above this and then drops back below, so that's a pump starting to come back, then that's when my alert goes off. Same thing on the bottom. It dips below the 30 and comes back up. Then that alert will go off and I can see if I want to take that trade. I usually do. So, okay, any questions on audio? Okay, any other coins you want to look at or questions you have about day trading or short-term swing trading or anything we've talked about today?
CJ, it's Oliver. Hi.
Hey, Oliver.
Hey, is there a trading view strategy on that RSI entering and exiting channel? Have you ever seen anything like that?
No,
Okay, I didn't think there was.
that's a CJ original as far as I know. I was just tinkering one day and found that. I was
That would
wondering
be a
about that. It's like,
that would be a great strategy if someone.
I've been trading it with the third party carbon situation, and it did really well for about a month. And it had a few setbacks this week.
Yeah.
So we'll talk
Yeah.
about that in the next Zoom.
All right.
But yeah, I'm not aware of that specific setup as a strategy. I know there's an RSI strategy, probably a couple of them for TradingView, but I don't think it's utilized that way.
I've looked at them. I don't like them.
Yeah, agreed. I'm testing one more that's done pretty well. We'll see. But yeah, the TradingView strategies are just okay.
Well,
All right. Well,
on the
I will-
Zoom call, maybe we'll talk a little more. All right.
okay.
Next one, I mean. All right.
All right. I will wrap it up here. If you're watching on the recording, thanks for doing that. Hope to see you live next time. As I mentioned earlier, Monday
Thanks,
is
CJ.
Memorial Day. You're welcome. Is Memorial Day for the US folks. So I won't be doing a Zoom, but I will be back on a week from today and looking forward to seeing you then. If you're in carbon, stick around. We'll do that one next. Bye.